here are a few things that I realized for trading. All right, and all the realization, I'm gonna have some explanation behind it. I realized why being patient is important. And the reason patience is important, see, it's hard to know all of these rules and follow them because you're gonna be like, man, I gotta be patient, but you don't have a purpose because you don't know the actual reason behind being patient. For me, the actual reason behind being patient is the fact that I seen a lot of my trades turn on me because I got in too early or I got in too late because I mistimed the market. All right. So if I just stayed patient, I could have timed the market right and I could have had a winning trade. And also with patience, I learned that there are many trade setups that happen throughout the day. Most of the time, some days it'll have maybe one or two, blah, 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 like solid setups, but usually there's a few setups. So what made me help be more patient is the fact that I know there might be another setup later on. There's a high chance that there's going to be another setup later throughout that day. And then I made in the last video, I said that I'm going to try getting 20 to 25 points per play and just call it, I wouldn't say call it a day because if there's another setup, I'm going to take it. But I realized that 20 to 25 points hits more than the others. So I'm gonna do 20 to 25 points per play. I'm gonna just put my take profit and just let it be. And I'm gonna just wait for the right setups, and consistency will help me, because after every $1,000, I will add another contract. So right now I have 2 micro e-minis that I'm gonna be trading. And then once I make $1,000, I'm gonna add another micro e-mini. So, and anything above 1,000, I'm gonna transfer it to the bank. So right now I'm trading with 2 micro e-minis, and if I get around 20 points every day, that's $80. And 80 times 5 is 400. 400 times 4 is 1,600. Because I believe that I can get at least 20 points every day. And once again, like I was saying in the last videos, there are going to be some times where I get more than 20 points, and obviously I'm going to have some losses, but the extra points I'm getting and the losses are going to cancel out to about 20 points a day. That's what I'm, referring to. But I feel like if I stay more patient, I'm going to have more winning trades, because lots of the times when I wasn't patient, it took me out and the trade went my way, and that was because I was impatient. I'm realizing why being patient matters. I'm realizing why following your strategy is important. And it's important because you got to think of it long term. Obviously, every play won't hit, but you got to think of it in the long term. I realized why my rules are important is because, once again, in the long term, the rules are going to help me versus if I didn't follow them. For example, all of the times I got out of my trade early because it didn't. All of the times that all of the times that I got out of my trade before it hit my stop loss, right? All of those times versus the times where I got out because I felt like it is a very big difference. I don't know if you know what I just said, so I'm gonna say it again. So the amount of times it hit my stop loss and I got out and I lost the trade because of that versus the amount of times where I got out of the trade without it hitting my stop loss, it's a big difference of the winning and losing trade. I got more losing trades when I didn't let it hit my stop loss, when I got out before it hit my stop loss. When I'm thinking throughout the times where I got out before my stop loss, many of those plays went in my favor, right? Many of those plays went in my favor, but I got out early. And I'm thinking about all of the times where I got out early before I hit my stop loss, and it kept on going towards that way. So if I was going long and it kept going short and I got out early, all of the times that it kept going down does not come close to the other side, which is letting it hit my stop loss. So what I'm basically saying is, when you get into a trade and you have your stop loss and take profit, just place it and let it hit one of those. And then that ties in with being patient, because if you're not patient, you won't get the right entry and you won't have the right stop loss. A stop loss is meant to be there when you are wrong, not because this is down 10 points. If you're going short, a stop loss is there to where you are wrong and it's going to go long. If you know what I mean. Stop loss is there to prove your thesis is wrong, not because it says going down or going up and you're just going to stop it there just because lots of the times that's when the reversal happens, and it does that on purpose. How many times have it taken your stop loss and then it went towards your favor? That's because you were impatient. You didn't have the right setup most of the time. There's going to be times where you could have done it perfectly and the market just didn't give it to you, and that's part of the game. But I'm talking about the times where you were impatient, you got into it early, your stop loss was too low, and it ran it, and then it went in your favor. That happened to me a lot of times. So that made me realize why you have to be patient, because once again, it stops you from being into a trade too early, and it helps you get more wins in the long term. Because in the long term, all those early entries will be more losses than if you just stay patient. So if a play happens and you didn't get in yet, most of the time it's going to retrace. And that is where you should put your limit order. I like playing with limit orders because it takes the game of trading out of my head. So when a play happens, for example, it takes out liquidity and breaks down, I might have my limit at one of the fair value gaps. And then I'm going to watch it, right? If it slowly gets it, comes down, cool. If it just ramps through that bitch, I might get out early. The way it depends. Even though that ties back to, you shouldn't get out your trade early, but you should also know when your trade is not working. But that comes with experience. And to be honest with you, I don't know it too well where like my trade, I don't know if it's a bad trade, not a bad trade. I don't know if it's like going my way or not, because there's many times where, once again, it looks like it's not going my way and it just drops, So most of the time, I'm going to just let it hit my stop loss. Right. Yeah, so that's the main thing, letting it hit stop losses. I realize why being patient is important, because you got to think of this in the long term. I'm thinking about all of the times where if I followed my strategy and if I just place my stop loss, take profit, let it do this thing, how many more wins I would have had throughout the week or throughout the month. So I'm thinking of it like that, where I'm thinking long term. This strategy works. My take profit, my stop loss, in the right areas. It's just the reason I'm not as profitable is because my emotions. And I've blown many funded accounts because I was self-destructing, which I explained in a different video, where that means you literally stop giving a fuck, because since funded accounts are so cheap, if you lose 1,000 and you only have 1,000 left, you might just start gambling with that thousand, go full on deep, and it's like, fuck it, let me just reset. But instead of paying $49 to reset, you just forcefully fail that account, hoping to get a big win out of it. So I decided to stop using funded accounts until I'm for real profitable. I know I can do 20 to 25 points a day. I just have to stay patient. I just have to wait for my setup to occur, which I see a lot. And I have to be okay with the fact that if I miss a setup, there's going to be another move. You know, there's always going to be another move. There's no such thing as missing another move, because there is going to be another move, which means you don't ever miss moves. You just didn't catch that one. That's it. So that's how I'm starting to see it more and more. Those are the things I realized, man. And once again, if you're following along, tagging along, growing along, subscribe, and then let's grow this shit together, all right?